Welcome everybody inside the gym here at Newman Gymnasium on the campus of Husson University in Bangor, Maine. We've got a NAC matchup between the Husson University Eagles and the Vermont State University Lyndon Hornets. It's going to be an interesting matchup here today, and I think this is a good chance for the Eagles to really try and get into the swing of things heading into the main part of conference play.
Exactly. Husson already 1-1 in conference play with a win up in Presque Isle. Husson also coming off a 3-1 loss to Fisher College just a couple of days ago. They're looking to bounce back and get back to what they know as Husson Volleyball.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan Moss and Ryan Barnes taking this one for you today. And for these Hornets, you know, a small group. It'll just be the 7 of them to start it off. Gray Hosselton, Breonna Graham, Cassandra Gonzalez, Emily Anderson, Lilina Medina, Charlotte Morris, and Kiara Mack. And Breonna Graham Emily Anderson is the libero for the Hornets. And on the Eagles side, Leah Peliquin will be the libero. Alana Peruti, Cheyenne Young, Jenna Prescorn, Alexa Beal, Cam Schweitzer, and Maddie Shepard are your starters for today. Now the Eagles over the Hornets have won the last 22 matchups in a row. Been a bit of a tough time for the Hornets whenever they come to Bangor.
And this is a good opportunity, as I said before, after the loss to Fisher, which they really don't want to say were in control of, but they had opportunities to get away with that one, and they let it slip a couple times. And this is, again, a great opportunity to get back into the win column.
Eagles will take the first serve. It'll be Maddie Shepard, the freshman out of Raymond, New Hampshire, to start off today's match. First serve goes short, and point to the Hornets. Now Cassandra Gonzalez will take it for Lyndon. Sends this one to the back row. Nicole Hobbs is there. Now outside to Prescorn. Blocked at the line. Back outside to Schweitzer. He finds the back line and in for an Eagles point.
Great hit by Schweitzer with that left hand, finding the dead center of that back row, right, pretty much right at the free throw line there, not too far from the end line, getting that in bounds.
Now Peliquin's first serve goes off the bottom of the net. Service goes back over to the Hornets. An interesting moment preparing for this broadcast. A few of the Hornets also playing on the soccer team visiting here today. And for a moment we thought the Hornets were going to be playing with 4. So 3 different of these young women playing on the soccer team, playing right now up at Boucher Field. There's Olivia McIntyre off the hands of Hosselton. Breonna Graham can't handle it. And another point to the Eagles. Bit of a knuckleball serve from McIntyre. She does that so well. To the back row. Hosselton is there this time. Now outside to Medina. Saving that one is Hobbs. And bumped back over by Beal. Now Morris to the back row. Sets up Hosselton, who gets it over. Now McIntyre again. Young off the back foot. Sends it over. Now there's Mack. Here's McIntyre outside to Prescorn. Taps it. And saved by a diving Morris. Now Hobbs will give it to McIntyre and sent over by Cheyenne Young.
Great way to find. Last one we talked about just at the end line in the back. This one right on the side here. Great way just finding that sweet spot.
The back row now. Hosselton is there. Tapped over by Mack. There's McIntyre again. A little tap over by Young. This one goes to the back row. Hobbs is there. Beal sends it over. to Anderson. Now outside looking to Graham, who gets it back. Peliquin sends it out of bounds, trying to set it to Prescorn on the outside. That'll be Graham, the freshman out of Port Arthur, Texas, to serve for the Hornets. This one, Prescorn gets blocked at the line, but it goes out of bounds. Eagles get the serve right back. And it'll be Prescorn. This one again, Hazelton, now to Graham, looking outside. Medina sends it over, and just in that back corner.
Pretty good laser on that one too, just sticking it in between two Eagles there and finding that spot where nobody was for the point.
Now Medina back to serve. Sends this one way back towards the back line. McIntyre will set up Young, who sends it out of bounds. Now tied at 5. Hornets will maintain the serve. This one goes short. Shepard is there. Beal now gets it back to Shepard, who taps it over. Gonzalez saves it. Mack sends it back. Now Shepard again splits the defense and finds it just beyond the 10-foot line. Now back to the Eagles.
Found that hole right in the center where it's almost kind of the spot of miscommunication. All right, who has it? Is it me? Is it you? Is it you? And just drop that in between a few Hornets.
Beal sends it out of bounds. And we'll keep playing seesaw here so far, 6-6. As it'll be Kiara Mack taking the serve. Mack, the sophomore out of Winooski, Vermont. Sends this one short to Prescorn. Now McIntyre looks to Young. Sends it to the back row. Saved by the scorer's table, but unable to get it back towards the court is Medina. Quick substitution, McIntyre will exit for Peruti for the Eagles. And Anderson comes back into the game for Mack as the libero for the Hornets. This one looking over the middle, tapped over by Hazelton, who makes contact with the net. The Eagles now leading by 2. Here's Young to serve. There is Medina, followed by Anderson, sent over by Morris. Now Young looks to the outside for Shepard to the back row. Medina. Here's Peliquin. Tapped over by Peruti, saved by diving Morris. Now here's Prescorn outside to Schweitzer. There to handle it is Gonzalez. Sent back over by Anderson. Peliquin again, now to Schweitzer to the back corner, finds it. Eagles now leading by 3 on a bit of a run.
Absolute laser there by Schweitzer to find the spot on the right side of the court.
Young maintains the serve. This time it's Morris. Sent back over by Morris. Now Young to Shepard, trying to find the back corner off the hands of Anderson and way past the bench. Unable to track it down is Medina. Now it's the Eagles by 4. There's Young now to Anderson. There is Graham, sent over and blocked at the line. Peruti saves it. Sent back over by Morris. Now here's Young looking to Schweitzer on the outside. Diving save, but a little too hard for Medina to handle. Anderson got there.
4 kills already for Schweitzer, and they're all coming from that right side.
Young serve goes to the back row. Morris is there. Now Graham looks back to Morris. Prescorn in the back row will save it. Young trying to set up Schweitzer again. Sends it out of bounds. And that stops a 6-point run for the Eagles. Now 11-7 as Morris will be back to serve for the Hornets.
A little too much mustard on that one.
Here's Young outside to Peruti. Peruti just tries to float it over and finds the floor to get the serve right back for the Eagles. It'll be Regan Libby coming in for Shepherd to take the serve. Eagles lead this one 12-7 here in the first set. A little bit of confusion on the rotation on both sides. But Libby's serve goes to the back row, off the hands of Medina and out of reach for Anderson.
Those celebrations on that Husson bench.
They always crack me up. Medina is there this time, now looking to Morris over the top and off the block. Finds the hardwood. Hazelton on the kill. Hobbs will come in for Libby. Now there's Cassandra Gonzalez, sends it out of bounds. It'll be Schweitzer now back to serve in the rotation. Peliquin will exit for Beal. This one stays inbounds, saved by Gonzalez. Now back off the top of the net, sent by Morris. Now here's Young looking outside to Beal. And they're going to call a double hit on Young. Point goes back to the Hornets. It'll be Hazelton, the freshman out of Fargo, North Dakota. Continuing the serve for the Hornets. Sends a looper to the back row. Peliquin is there, now looking outside to Peruti. Off the pole. And the Hornets will keep it.
Just couldn't find the sweet spot on that one as it goes right into the antenna.
This one short. Peliquin again. Now Young looks to Prescorn, who sends it out of bounds, just barely along the line.
So you really can't get much any less out of bounds than
No,
that.
not really. That was right there, and I think a great call by the line judges to say that was out of bounds. I do think it was. Beal taps it over. Mack tries to send it back and can't get it over the net. Point goes back to the Eagles. Continuing to lead by 4. McIntyre will come in. McIntyre's serve goes to the back row, handled by Anderson, looking outside to Medina. They're going to say it hit the antenna. Coach Bill Riley will show a bit of honesty and say that it did. And don't always see a coach trying to get a point for the other team, I guess, but good to see. Off the hands of Anderson. McIntyre gets another one. She may not be able to play, but she still has a lot of fun. That's Julia Levitt on the sideline for the Eagles. McIntyre sends this one short. Graham manages to get it back over. Peliquin now looks to Beal. Can't quite get it over the net. Point goes back to the Hornets, still trailing by 5. It'll be Graham to serve. Graham sends it short. Young is there to handle it. McIntyre looks back to Young over the top of the block and finds the line. Great kill from Young there. Shepard comes back into the game for Hobbs. It'll be Prescorn back deep to serve. This one goes off the top of the net.
That top of the net is so unpredictable. It could go over, could slingshot right back at you. That one just falling there.
Medina sends it a little short. Peliquin is there. Now looking outside to Shepard off the top of the net. Yet again. It'll stay with the Hornets. This one will go short for Medina. Eagles will get it back. Still leading by 5. Molly Gamache coming in for Beal. She will take the serve. This one goes short. There to get it is Hazelton, sent back over by Graham. A diving McIntyre keeps it alive. Shepard tries to find the back corner. And Graham sends it back over. Now here's Young. Splits the defense, finds the front corner. And another kill for Cheyenne Young. She's been racking up a lot of stats this year.
She, coming into this game, 79 kills, 68 assists, almost even out there in points that she has, points that she's given to her teammates.
So Gamache's serve stays in bounds just barely. Gamache again. This time Medina is there and can't get it to a teammate. Eagles now leading at 22-14.
Looked like Coach Riley on that last point, he may have misjudged where that ball was going, telling his team that was out as it was just so close in.
Sometimes a lot of these balls, depending on how you put the spin on it, Hazelton takes that one off the chin. And another ace for Gamache. But sometimes you put some spin on these balls, they will drop. It's the same sort of physics, I suppose, as raking balls in baseball. This one to Shepard off of the hands of Medina and out of bounds. 24-14 now for the Eagles. Set point under the service of Gamache, who's been on a tear.
Funny you mentioned baseball. That was a Raldis Chapman fastball right there off the hand of Shepard.
Mack tries to keep it alive and it falls. Eagles will take the first set 25-14. So we move on to the second set. We're going to step aside for about 3 minutes here on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Back here for the second set. The Eagles coming away with the first set over the Hornets, 25-14. Gonna try to keep this run going. They had a good run to close it out under the service of Gamache. 3 straight aces in that run. Try to keep it going. Breonna Graham will take the serve for the Hornets.
Big part of that first set. Fresh Molly Gamache, 4 aces.
Including those 3 straight. Here's Prescorn. Never ceases to amaze me how much power they can get behind a lot of these kills and these attacking attempts.
I would simply just throw up my shoulder doing that.
Yeah, me too. Beal's serve goes out of bounds. Now Medina for the Hornets sends it to the back corner. Hobbs saves it. Now here's Peliquin. Young got to get it over. Set by Graham to Medina. Hobbs is there. Now Young looks to Beal. Tapped over. And a diving attempt from Hazelton. Too short. Point goes back to the Eagles.
Great way by Beal there, just to give it that nice little arch to have it drop just before the diving Hornet there.
Speaking of Hornet, I think there's a bug on the floor.
Okay, between the 2 diving Hornets.
McIntyre serve to the back row. Now Mack will send it over. Peliquin looks outside to Prescorn again, taps it back. Saved by Hazelton, sent over by Graham, who runs into the net. Eagles will take it. Yeah, it must have been a bug. Trainers over there are investigating it. I think they're killing it. Must be a spider or something.
Never a dull day here at Husson University.
Nope. McIntyre finds the hole again for another ace. Again, she's one of the most consistent servers on this Eagles team and racks up a lot of aces when she's really feeling it. This one's saved by Prescorn. Now looks back to her off the top of the net, saved by Morris. Now here's Medina trying to send it back, and she sends it out of bounds. McIntyre will keep it. Sends this one to the back row, saved by a diving Medina, but straight into the net. No teammate can get there. Again, the Eagles continuing this hot streak, now leading 6-1. Coach Gordon pointing out Hornets player. Her shoe is untied. And now we're back to business. Into the back row, saved by Hazelton, sent over by Medina, looping to the back corner. Now Prescorn off the hands of McIntyre. Prescorn sends it way out of bounds. And that will end the 5-point run for the Eagles. That'll be Mack back to serve for the Hornets. Sends this one over. Hobbs is there. Now McIntyre looking to Beal. Beal finds the back corner. Over the heads of the Lyndon back row.
A nice line drive there by Beal into that back right corner of the court.
Here's Prescorn to serve. Sends this one short. And just in front of the diving Anderson. ace for Prescorn. Had just 6 coming into today's contest. Since this one just short, tried to roll it off the top of the net. Can't get it over. Miscommunication on the Eagles side as Morris will get the ace on the serve there. Peliquin and Shepard just kind of staring at each other, watching that one fall. Prescorn is there in the back row for this one. McIntyre looks to Shepard off the block and sent under the net by Graham for another Eagles point.
That one had some height on it, too, for being under the net.
Yeah, I mean, definitely would have gotten over the net had it been about 3 feet back. So Gamache will come in to serve for the Eagles, trying to keep that hot streak going. And as I say that, sends it right into the net.
Haven't you learned?
Apparently not. Apparently not. I don't know if I'll ever learn, to be honest. Sometimes the commentator's curse strikes, sometimes it doesn't. This one sent over by Gonzalez on the serve. Now here's Young off the net. Too low on that attempt. Hornets now within 5. 4. Math was never my strong suit. This one, another miscommunication in the back row for the Eagles. Pelican couldn't quite get there. That one will go out of bounds. Young watches it fall. Now 10-7. She will take the serve. I believe it should be 10-6. Might be having a couple of issues with our scoreboard on our end.
Live stat says 10-7. That's what we go by.
This one, a great kill from Medina. Finds the hole in the Eagles' defense just past that 10-foot line. Now 10-8, Hornets within 2. We're down 6 at one point. Putting together a nice run. Here's Hazelton trying to keep it alive. Prescorn is there. Now Young looks to Peruti. Peruti off the block. And that one will find the hardwood. Now 11-8. Regan Libby comes back in to serve. Runs this one over off the hands of Graham. Couldn't get there, moving to her left in time. An ace for Libby. Libby again, another ace off the hands of Hazelton this time. Had just one ace coming into today's match. Now 2 already, 2 in a row. Trying to go for the hat trick. Mack will send it over, but out of bounds. Won't count as an ace. But another quick point for the Eagles. Now up 14-8 here in the second set. Off the hands of Graham. That one will fall. And they're going to do it again.
You can kind of see it on the left side of the screen there.
Maybe again, Graham trying to get there, saved by Morris. Hornets run into each other, can't save it in time. I think they might need to expand their celebration database, so to speak.
Database.
I could not think of the word there. Memory banks? What are we doing here? Timeout called by the Hornets. Coach Riley will take us first. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports. Back here at the Newman Gymnasium, the Eagles leading the second set 17-8 over the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. Under a nice run under the service of Regan Libby, freshman out of Brooksville, Maine, product of George Stevens Academy, like so many other Eagles athletes. Now Young will look to Prescorn, off the block, saved by Young again, sent over by Schweitzer. Now Mack will send it over, another miscommunication on the Eagles side. That one falls between Libby and Young. That was Mack sending it over for the Hornets, now 17-9. This one sent over by Graham. Now here's Young looking to Schweitzer. Off the hand of Graham and onto the floor. Make it 18-9. Eagles continuing to run away with this second set. Now Schweitzer to serve. There is Hazelton. Now Morris will look to Mack. Sent out of bounds. Eagles now leading by 10. Schweitzer sent back by Mack. Diving is Hobbs and can't get it to a teammate, trying to go to Peruti. Hobbs laid out for that one. This time it is Hobbs saving it, now looking to Prescorn. Finds the far corner on the far side. Make that 20-10. We'll have a quick score update from across the way at Boucher Field. Eagles leading over the Hornets 9-0 with about 10 minutes left in the women's soccer matchup up there. We're going to have men's soccer there at 3:30. Morris sends it over. Hobbs can't handle it. And a point to the Hornets. That'll be Avery Henningsen, Caden Trenowith on the call. We'll have field hockey a little bit later today at 6 p.m. versus number 13 Bowdoin. It'll be myself and Ryan on that one. This one for Young, sent over. Gonzalez is there off the net. And Medina running backwards, can't quite get there. Now 21-11. Eagles are going to keep this about a 10-point game, trying to take this second set, go up 2-0. Now here's Prescorn to serve, sends it over off the hands of Morris. Medina trying to get there, and she can't. 22-11. Now Prescorn will exit. Sarah White will come into the game. She will take the serve. Sends this one short. Anderson was there to handle. Now Morris sends it over. White gets there in the back row. Now here's McIntyre looking to Shepard off the block. And there's another kill for Shepard. 23-11.
It all starts with the dig by White and with Young able to get that over to Shepard. Great play all around.
This one again. Graham is there. Morris will send it over. White gets there on the dig. Now McIntyre looks to Beal. Reaches back, finds a little extra, and gets it past Anderson. 24-11 now, set point for the Eagles.
Eagles have a chance to get the front row hat trick here. Go outside, right side. Missing the middle now.
This one handled by Morris, now sent over by Hazelton. Here's the middle, now to the outside, saved, and off of the net. Anderson was able to get there, but unable to handle it was Hazelton as the Eagles take the second set. They lead it 2-0. We're gonna step aside from Bangor. Back here for the third set between the Vermont State University Lyndon Hornets and the Husson University Eagles. The Eagles taking the second set 25-11, taking the first set 25-14. Trying to close it out here in this third set, coming away with a conference victory, and should they do so, would improve to 2-1 in conference. really trying to find their stride this season. It's been a rough start compared to last year and compared to what we've seen out of this Eagles team, and we know that they can play a lot smoother, I should say, than they have been. It's not like they've been playing bad, it's just that they've made some mistakes, and it feels like a lot of those games could have gone either way. And just a little bit of cleanup can really benefit the Eagles. There's White off the block, now to the back row, Hazelton. Here's Morris, sends it over. Sent over by Peruti. Peliquin now looking to Schweitzer. Hazelton, now Graham sends it out of bounds. And a good volley for the first point. Gives it to the Eagles.
And we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast how there's two biggest games that I could think of off the schedule were the St. Joe's and the Fisher games. Just not necessarily, they played like the better team through all those games. Just a couple mistakes that just
Can really swing the game.
Yes. A couple costly mistakes. But so far today seems like that they have at least fixed most of the problems.
Like I was going to say, the offense feels a little bit smoother. Everybody's kind of calmer. They're getting to the ball at the right time and limiting the mistakes. And able to really just communicate and work as that a well-oiled machine we saw last year. Off to 4 straight points now are the Eagles.
And even last year, they were off to a slower start, and as conference games picked up, and they just went cruising right through, eventually falling to Maine Maritime in the conference championship game, but definitely shaping out to be a perennial contender in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely, and Maine Maritime, great save by Morris. Matt gets it back over. Now here's Peruti trying to get it. Matt can't quite get it over the net. And another point to the Eagles. Back to my point, Maine Maritime is a force to be reckoned with in the North Atlantic Conference, and it's been years and years of dominance. And it still feels like the Eagles have the best shot to try to dethrone them within the next year or two, especially as this recruiting class plays a little bit more, gets more experience under Coach Gordon. Another kill by Schweitzer. But a setting error for the Eagles. Peliquin, as the libero, came up and set beyond the 10-foot line, or within the 10-foot line, I should say. Gonzalez saves that one. Pruney sends it right back. Mack is there to the back row. There's Hobbs. Now outside to Schweitzer. Diving stop made, and by Medina, saved again by Mack. White sends it over, can't get there. Is Morris on the dive. 6-1 now, the lead for the Eagles.
We talked about this recruiting class, and just about every single freshman on this roster is getting playing time every game. Molly Gamache being a good setter. Regan Libby serving also. Got Prudy up in the front row.
He just gets that kill.
We know what Prescorn's been doing. And just in Shepherd as well, just down the roster. Just the balance of skill. I mean, across everyone on this roster.
And especially as this team gets to play with each other, starts playing with each other, more familiarity will be built. And the rotation as they figure that out. And, you know, once the team really gels, I think it'll be back to what we saw last year in some spurts. Again, taking Maine Maritime to 4 sets a couple of times. And really, as long as they can clean up a little bit, it could really be fun to watch next year. Of course, we'll be returning most of their key players. I'm expecting to see Julia Levitt again back on the team for what would be her senior season. Of course, a big loss would be for Cheyenne Young, would be leaving the team. But I feel like there are plenty of players that could step up and try to take her role, fill her shoes. Hobbs will set it to McIntyre, who runs into the net. Eagles still leading this one 9-3. It'll be Morris now to take the serve.
Going back to what we were talking about with Maine Maritime, and as you said, this is a team who's probably the closest to being able to take down Maine Maritime, as they really are the powerhouse in the North Atlantic Conference, and being able to take a set from them, especially in the conference championship game, which we did a bunch of research after that all happened. It was the first time that Maine Maritime had given up a set at home in over 8 years.
Which speaks a lot, really does, and that program has been so good for the Mariners. It's hard to really try and unseat a team that's been at the top for so long. And a few times been ranked ranked nationally within D3. That one inbounds for Sarah White, now 12-13.
2 straight aces there.
We'll come back to the game for a little bit. Now, after talking about the team for most of this third set. Here's White now to Medina. Morris will set it for Hazelton, gets it right back over. Hazelton does it again. Here's Peliquin. Sent over by Beal, diving is Anderson to save it. Now to Beal again, off the top of the net. And another point for the Hornets, now 12-4. Here's Gonzalez to serve. Sends this one way back. Peliquin short, off of the bump. Graham will get there. This one goes into the bleachers. Morris decides not to risk it. Rightfully so. I think the bleachers would win the battle. Marion Glinsky into the game as Coach Riley will take a timeout. We're going to step aside here on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Back here in Bangor, out of the timeout. Again, Marion Glinsky back to serve now for the Eagles. Sophomore from just across the river in Hampton. Sends this one short and sent back over by Hazelton. Diving is White to get to that one. Here's Shepard. Morris is there, now set and sent back over by Anderson. Looking outside to Schweitzer. Getting there is Anderson over to the bench. And Gonzalez can't track it down in time. 14-4 now, Eagles leading by 10.
It's good to see players who don't necessarily get as much playing time as they would in closer matches come out here and just get some more experience in their game.
It's a lot of fun to see and good experience as well to be able to come in and get that playing time, like you said. And sometimes it can come in handy, and players go down with injury. You need to step up. You never know what can happen. That's why it's important to play everybody. Hazelton's serve goes short. Sends it back over to the Eagles. It'll be Young in the backcourt. Sends this one over. Graham can't get there on the slide. Here's Gamache again to serve for the Eagles. Sends this one over. Graham will get it up. Morris is there. Mack will send it over, but will be called for a double hit. Eagles now leading by 12 in this third set, taking the first two over the Hornets. Gamache again. There is Hazelton. Morris will get it back to Hazelton. Off the hands of Peliquin and out of bounds for a Hornets point. Now 17-6. We have a final score from across the way. Women's soccer taking it over the Hornets 11-0. Again, we'll have men's soccer at about 3:30. Schweitzer sends that one out of bounds. Now Graham again to serve for the Hornets. Advantage for the Eagles is now 10 and 11. As Graham puts that one off the bottom of the net. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time, 1 p.m. against the Badgers of Vermont State University Johnson. That one will be a fun match to watch. Looking at those common opponents, Fisher did beat the Badgers 3-1 a couple of weeks ago. Max saves that one. I think it'll be a great matchup between the Eagles and the Badgers. Gamache sets it to White, taps it over. Here's Graham now. Mack looks outside to Medina. Past the dive of Peliquin. 18-8. Hornets won't go down just yet. Peliquin can't quite handle the bit of a changeup on that serve. Great serve from Medina to kind of just drop that in there. This one again to the back row. There's Peliquin this time. Gets it up. Schweitzer sends it over, but out of bounds. 3 straight points for the Hornets. This one almost over, but off the top of the net and back onto the Lyndon side. Now 19-10. Schweitzer now to serve, sends it back. This time it's Medina. Graham sends it back over. Getting there is Libby. Here's Glinsky to the back row. Getting there is Graham. Mack will send it over. Finds the hole in the defense. Libby was set up back deep. 19-11. Mack on the serve now for the Hornets. Looking outside to White. Miscommunication. Graham can't get back, and Mack was set up too deep. Now 20-11, 9-point advantage. Another set of substitutions for the Eagles. It's Gamache and Peruti leaving for McIntyre and Young. McIntyre gets this one up. Sent to Medina. Now there's Pelican. McIntyre looking to Glinsky on the outside. Off the hands of Gonzalez and down for a kill. Back up to 10 points as this lead for the Eagles. Coach Riley discussing, I believe, a substitution with a referee.
I think referee's trying to explain that if you make this substitution, it's going to mess up the rotation with the libero because you don't have that person on the bench to come in when the libero is supposed to be in the front row, as they can't. So Coach Riley's going to leave it be.
Delaney Gross coming to the game, sophomore out of Queechee, Vermont, just across the river where I am from. Young sends it back over, rears back to try and get it over, can't quite get it down. Sent to the back row, Libby set up deep, can't get there in time. Serve goes back to the Hornets. It'll be Morris to take it. This one sent over, trying to keep it alive, and they can't do so. Points to the Eagles. Serve goes straight back. Maddie Shepard comes in for Libby, and Julia Ellis will come in for Sarah White. Ellis will get it over. Now here's Morris looking to Graham on the outside, gets it to the back row. Ellis is there. Now here's Gross. Shepard sends a looper over. Young again. But they're going to say the Hornets made contact with the net. Point goes to the Eagles, now 2 away from winning this match.
They're going to say it was Hazelton in the net on that one.
Here's Ellis sending it back and over. Hazelton tries to get it over, can't do so. Now down to match point as they lead by 12. Ellis trying to win this one for the Eagles, sends it back and just out of bounds. That will have to wait. Hornets will get the serve.
I think that Eagles bench is about to explode.
Conference win always feels good. And again, they have a lot of energy over there. Now to the back row, Ellis just shy. Eagles trying to keep it alive, but a lift called. Gonzalez will keep it. Again, notably missing from this game, the regular libero, Beatrice Tercy, is nursing a foot injury, as I've been told. This one to Shepard. Off the hands of Gonzalez, and that one will go past the scorer's table. The Eagles take this one 3-0 over the Hornets of VSU, getting their second win in conference, now 2-1 on the year. In conference, 2-10 overall. Going to try to turn it around into that bulk of the conference play.
For the Hornets coming up, they're going to take a little road trip, visiting Leslie, Maine Maritime, and Presque Isle, and going back up to Vermont to face Vermont State University Johnson before finishing out at home to face Vermont State University Castleton, Leslie, Husson, Presque Isle, and Maine Maritime. As for the Eagles, next up tomorrow, as you mentioned earlier, 1 o'clock tomorrow against Vermont State University Johnson before they go to Leslie, come back for homestand against University of New England, Maine Maritime, and Presque Isle. And for the last 5 games on the road as they visit Johnson, Lyndon, St. Joe's down in Standish, and then ending the season, Framingham State, with them hosting Leslie second to last before the season closes out.
Plenty of opportunity for the Eagles to run away with a bit of conference play. Again, currently second behind Maine Maritime, of course, undefeated at the moment. And the Eagles now 2-1. For Ethan Moss, Ryan Barnes, thank you for tuning in today.